even if this takes years to make, I just like to make games. Severance, which is one of my favourite TV shows of all time. It kind of works, so I think it'll be okay. Hi, I'm Oliver, age 24. Today I'm going to start working on my dream game. One thing you hear a lot in the games industry and within game dev communities is that people have a dream game that they've always wanted to make. Now the first issue is I don't have a dream game. It's because I enjoy making games, but there isn't a specific game that I really want to make. I just like to make games. And also, I like a lot of different genres and I have a lot of different inspirations. So today I thought I'd throw all of my inspirations into one big mood board, and my theory is if I squash all of that together into one game, it would be my dream game. I also spend a lot of time each week thinking, what will be the video this week? So even if this takes years to make, I will always have a video that I can come back to and just keep working on this game to make videos for this channel. I started a Miro board and spent about 10 minutes just adding whatever came to mind that inspires me. So to start with, I've put in Severance, which is one of my favourite TV shows of all time, if not my actual favourite. There are many things I like about this show, but one of them in particular is the setting and also the cinematography and the colour and the lighting and the costume design and the choice of colours and the use of colours. And I really like the combination of unusual and abstract with the mundane office setting. Next, I really like corporate stock photos. There's something just really funny and ingenuine about people smiling in office settings and trying to look like they're having fun in a really corporate environment. I also really like the order and structure and symmetry of a lot of these spaces. There's something that really appeals to me about organised chaos and organised fun. Next is liminal spaces and the back rooms. Places where you'd expect there to be lots of people, but they're empty. And there's a really unusual and eerie feeling. I also really like vibrant and bright colours that you'll see happening a lot. And this checkboard pattern, this kind of vaporwave, I really like that as well. In fact, if you look at the room I'm in, you can see that I really like checkerboard graphics. Primary colours is red, yellow, blue. You can tell by my clothes, I really like vibrant colours. I like bold outlines on things. I like IKEA furniture. In fact, I specifically bought those office lights to put in this room because I just really like them. On the topic of primary colours, I really like Bauhaus, I think it's pronounced, which is mostly primary colours and bold outlines. I also really like vaporwave and 90s retro computer graphics, and I also really like this Memphis art style, which is lots of bright colours and patterns and bold outlines as well. Another thing I really like is old and retro vintage computers and computing. I really like art that has a limited colour palette. So here's one of my favourite colour palettes, and it covers the whole colour spectrum, but it just makes it really easy for somebody like me that doesn't really understand colour theory to pick colours that go together well. So if I show you my thumbnails here, they're using the primary colours, red, yellow, blue, but also the rest of the colours are all chosen from this colour palette. I also really like computer generated art. Not in terms of AI, just in terms of computer graphics. Then I've thrown in some games that I like. So I really like Hades, I like Geometry Wars and Final Fantasy Tactics. So I really like this kind of isometric art style that is in Hades and Final Fantasy Tactics. I also really like twin stick shooters and roguelikes. So I've thrown in Enter the Gungeon, Binding of Isaac, that is one of my favourite games of all time, and Nuclear Throne, which I really like as well. I really like isometric pixel art. So these are by the artist eBoy. And this also has vibrant colours and bold outlines. And it just looks really cool. And it mashes together lots of pop culture things that I really like as well. Next, I really like voxel art, which is essentially 3D pixel art, and the program Vox, which can be used to make this voxel art. I really like how simple it is, and also it usually uses a limited colour palette, vibrant colours, and it doesn't always have bold outlines, but it sometimes has this ambient occlusion, where all the crevices on the image get this nice dark shadow. And I think it kind of works in a similar way to a bold outline. There's also a lot of neon artwork where they use voxels that glow to give off this really cool lighting. And this is Vox that you can use to make this artwork. And here's just another nice voxel art piece. I like how animals and characters look in this art style as well. So I think that's probably enough to get started. I guess we're going to be making an isometric 3D voxel game with twin stick shooting and roguelike qualities. And we'll probably come back to the inspirations when we start to think about what characters will be in this game. And it'll be based in an office with vibrant colours. Okay, so I've got started in Vox and I've made this office chair out of voxels. I've not spent too long on it because we don't really know the exact scale things will be once they're in Unity. So for now, I've done 16 squares across in each direction is the same as 1 cube in Unity. So I've exported that and then imported it into Unity, and I've also set up the isometric camera from above. It looks okay, but the shadows look terrible. So I messed around with the shadow settings and I actually managed to get them looking pretty good. And I also got an ambient occlusion plugin from the asset store. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. Next, I wanted to try and have actual material in the world that emits light that interacts with other objects. So I've created this material and put it on a quad, and you can see that it's reflecting on the ground, and it's only doing that when I bake the lighting. I don't really know much about 3D lighting, but this seems to work for now. So I've tilted the lights so they're facing down from above and put 4 of them, one next to each of the chairs. And then when you bake it, it actually casts lights onto the ground. I also changed the colour of the chairs and the ground as well to make them show up better. And I'm really happy with that. I think that actually looks pretty solid. Now this is really subtle and I'm probably taking it too far, but I found another asset on the asset store that highlights the edges and lowlights the edges as well. It almost looks like it adds a slight curving to the edges. It just looks quite nice. I'll put a link to that asset in the description below if you want to check that out as well. So this is without any post-processing at all. And then this is with the post-processing that I've added. Next, I made a table in Voxel that is 2 units wide, 1 unit deep, and just under 1 unit high. And then I imported that into Unity and put a few of them around the scene. They seem about the same scale as the chair, so that works pretty well. Next, I made some walls, and I tried to draw a frame around them and a skirting board at the bottom that I coloured in blue to match the chairs. I then imported this back into Unity and I changed a few colours to make it all kind of fit together nicely. Now this is very exciting. I organised the hierarchy by using empty game objects. Look how neat and tidy this looks. Wow, fantastic. I then decided I'd done too much furniture and I needed to make a placeholder for the character. So I used a sphere and some cubes from Unity and tried to block out the rough proportions of a character that could fit within this world. I tried to sit them on the chair so I could see that they were the right scale for the chair and desk. They do feel a little bit big for the chair, but it kind of works, so I think it'll be okay. Let me know what you think. I then wrote the first script of this project to make the character move. This was a bit tricky as I had to offset the movement by the angle of the camera because it's an isometric view. And I also fixed the issue where you could move faster if you move diagonally, which is a well-documented issue that is quite easy to fix. Next, I wanted the character to rotate to face towards the mouse cursor. For now, I'm just going to support keyboard and mouse to get the game working, but eventually I'll add gamepad support as well. As you can see, it's slightly offset because the character is facing 90 degrees away from where the mouse is. I fixed that and boom, look at that. That was a pretty easy fix though, I just had to add a 90-degree offset to the code. And look at the character go, fantastic. The game is basically shippable. Dream game. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more of this game or this series, hit subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.